So in the modern era, there are many black swan events that even experts cannot predict, and that is inevitable because we are living in a complex systems world, and nothing is predictable. When a brain tries to predict the future, it does so by referring to past memories and the worldviews that are based on it. So when we try to predict the future, we actually rely on the past. And that strategy is effective when the future is a continuation of the past, more or less. For example, a really simple example is that the sun would rise from the east today because it has done so in the past, many, many times over. And that is quite predictable. And it's also predictable that you would get hungry after you have eaten something because you have gotten hungry many, many times over in the past. But in the modern times, there are many things that are really not predictable. For example, the cryptocurrency. The future of cryptocurrency is quite unpredictable. Elon Musk has betted heavily on Bitcoin and Dogecoin, but nobody knows if that would be sustainable. After all, it is very dependent on government regulations. So, like in China, cryptocurrencies might be banned out overnight in modern day Nixon shock, and then the prices of the cryptocurrencies would plummet, and nobody knows when that would happen or if that would happen. So the future of cryptocurrencies is unpredictable, precisely because no similar events have happened in the past. Of course, you can make analysis, but these analyses do not stretch very far. So, in a nutshell, in the modern world, because many, many things are new, including, for example, the artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence has not been around in the past, we cannot predict what would become of all these new developments in artificial intelligence. So when we want to predict important events in the modern world, we cannot rely on the past. That is an essential problem about future predictions in today's world. So there are many people who say they are futurists, but those predictions of the futurists often fail because we do not have the backlog of a huge data of what would happen in for many important trends in today's world. So, what is the brain's strategy in dealing with black swan events? Well, in the brain, there are circuits involving artificial anterior cingulate cortex, and anterior cingulate cortex, ACC in short, uh, picks up signals that are novel, that are salient, and then it sends a signal to an area called dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or DLPFC in short. So ACC is the alarm center, and DLPFC is the executive center. And by relaying information from the ACC to DLPFC, the brain picks up a black swan event, and it can probably adapt or try to adapt to this novel occurrences by trying to recruit the resources in the brain after the event. So you cannot do that before the event because the event itself is not predictable. So this, in a nutshell, is the most fundamental uh, condition, so to speak, uh, facing our brain function today. We cannot make predictions beforehand. We can only adapt after the event. So the only thing about the world today is that is predictable is that it's not predictable. So there are many people around who claim that they can predict the world. Maybe you can predict about global warming. That is for certain. And also, maybe you can predict what would happen to the coronavirus pandemic because there are certain time courses, and that is predictable. However, as things get more important and more important in the today's world of small networks, those salient events are salient just because they are unpredictable. So, we should not have this illusion of the predictability of the future. We can only try to adapt to events after the event. So, in a nutshell, this post-mortem adaptation, so to speak, is the most important attitude that we should take in today's world. And, we should probably throw away this illusion about predictability of the future. And that is the only practical and reasonable attitude to take for many events that are important just because they are unpredictable.